All right, welcome to another In the Lounge with Dre and Jay. We're here to just talk about what's going on in entertainment, the movie business, and I mean, where better to start than with the NAACP Image Awards. We just covered it.
Yes.
You was the host.
Yes.
The 50th annual NAACP Image Awards happened last Saturday at the famous Dolby Theater. It used to be called the Kodak Theater, where the Oscars go down. So it was a big event. I mean, what was your take on it? How did you feel about the whole event?
I'm gonna tell you something. I loved it, but I'm gonna tell you something. Too many black folks in one area, like we all started to draw heat in a way.
I don't think it was drawing heat. The difference, one of the main differences between the Academy Awards, which happens there, and a lot of the premieres in the NAACP Image, it was no cover. So that day, it seemed like we was all on the beach.
Yeah.
It was check-in time. It was like, whoa, it is hot out here.
Yeah. I mean, I pushed through though in that tuxedo. I did push through though.
Yeah, you must have had that super absorbent dry fit tuxedo.
I mean, you know, hey, that's what you got to do to make it happen. But man, it was just some of Hollywood's finest that were there. We had people from like Issa Rae to Maxine Waters. Yeah.
I mean, but you didn't mention the king and queen of entertainment. I don't even know if that goes right with Beyonce and Jay. They were there.
They came in there on their own time. They came in there like in the middle of the show, and you know what I'm saying, they stayed and got their awards and went back to Wakanda, I guess.
What did you think about that whole thing with Omari Hardwick, and they said, you know, that he kissed her maybe a little bit improper twice?
Come on, man. That was just, man, it wasn't even that serious, man. I saw it, man. It was like, it wasn't nothing inappropriate about it.
It's not just no male toxic.
Nah, he was showing love. Like, man, look.
Right now, it's two men talking about this. I mean, do you think a woman might say different, like, oh, that was inappropriate?
That wasn't inappropriate, man. I would have loved, man. First of all, who would not want to be Omari Hardwick in that situation right now, where you not only get one but two kisses from Beyonce?
I mean, at least his hand didn't drop.
Right,
You know what I'm saying?
right. You know,
that sounds bad, but you know. but let's get away from that. Let's talk about some of the interviews, because you mentioned Maxine Waters, but you also got to talk to
Lena Waithe.
Nominees, Lena Waithe. How was that? I mean, y'all got to talk about Jussie Smollett.
Yeah, you know, she from Chicago, so, you know, of course, she gonna always represent. And I asked her, I said, what did you think about it? And, you know, she's loyal to, to the team. You know, she said, hey, that's still my homie, regardless. You know, he's one I could call at 2 a.m. when I ain't got $20 to go get something to eat. So, you know, but what was interesting about her was she had on, I asked her about her outfit, and she was like one of several people that said, hey, it's the 50th anniversary. Why not come head to toe all black? Yeah. All black. And I thought that what a great way to represent. Yeah. You know, because you see it all the time at the Oscars and the Emmys, all these other red carpets, and, you know, there was, I think, half and half, you know, with people, you know, they were really like, you know, we're going to keep it all black and we just going to keep to what we really know. Yeah, so, but she was definitely one that just definitely represented. And one thing I thought that was really interesting about her particular interview was she's getting more deep into Chicago stories rather than, you know, focusing on the national as a whole as compared to like the past seasons. Yeah. So this season is going to be focused more so on just everything that's happened in Chicago, from the missing girls that we've had over the past couple of years to domestic violence. She's also going to be exploring more of the homosexuality. And, man, she's doing it.
Yeah, season 2 of The Chi is now on Showtime. I think it's just premiered. So,
and I'm an extra in it, too.
And he's an extra in it. We'll check that out. Also, you mentioned Issa Rae, which was great seeing her, Maxine Waters. I think somebody that reminded us, well, it was two people that reminded us of how bad they were. Was first, Sanaa Lathan looked so wonderful on the
She did.
I mean, she really, like, you was like, whoa, wow. And then Melinda Williams, who's engaged, and congratulations, and no this is not no Kodak black move or nothing, but she was looking OMG in the press conference and on the carpet. I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Melinda. Yeah. I mean, so it was cool to see her. And in the press room, I got to talk to Maxine Waters.
You did?
A little bit, and we talked about this Mueller report and and the Electoral College. So you guys can check that out. The link's below. Y'all can check that out if y'all want to. I mean, let's move on. I mean, that's the 50th NAACP Image Awards. A lot of content on the site. Y'all can check it out and get familiar with what happened over there. But
what did you think about some of the nominees? Because two particular shows that I felt that 911 and Pose from FX. You know, you have 911 with Angela Bassett and, you know, Rockman Dunbar, like no nominees for that show, no nominees for Pose. Pose was basically one of the very first shows to have an all-female trans cast. And, you know, it was different women of color. And, you know, I know Janet Mock had talked about it early on when the nominations came out that, you know, you guys were supposed to represent everybody and we were left out.
I guess I'll say I don't have a valid opinion about either one because I hadn't been watching the shows, and I will, you know, give them a look, but I'm just not familiar with either one to say that they should have been nominated. But it was, I mean, speaking of nominees and winners, I feel like we finally put the awards to bed for Black Panther at this thing. And I mean, poor Chad. I mean, I think Chad Boseman could never expect that getting involved with this project. I'm sure he knew it was going to be a little hectic being in this Marvel universe, but I mean, he almost physically looks like it's wore him out.
Yeah.
His year as T'Challa has wore him out. I mean, but he was popping on the carpet. His suit was, I don't know who made that. That junk was popping, but it looked like he was like, is this the last time I had a trophy for this Black Panther? Let's talk about the sequel. But I feel like finally Black Panther, the cast, they got their awards. Letitia was there, Lupita was there, Winston Duke was there. So that was great. Ryan Coogler, I got to talk to Ryan Coogler on the carpet also, and I think it's been a year. It's finally the end of the Black Panther.
It doesn't feel like it's been like it felt like this has like lasted like so long. It just can't believe like it was released like last year. Yeah.
But moving off of that and moving off of Black Panther, and maybe all this stuff ties in tragically after the Image Awards a few days later. Rapper, entrepreneur, philanthropist Nipsey Hussle, LA native, was gunned down in front of his store on Slauson and like Crenshaw area, and I mean it was sad. It's been the biggest social media story, and people are really giving this thing like some attention now. A lot of people are waking up to who Nipsey was, what he stood for. We were one of the early outlets. I mean, I think when I look back, we have a 10-year-old interview of Nipsey Hussle on YouTube that you guys should check out. And even then, when you could see him as a young man, you could see that he had these thoughts in him. And that's where I learned about a lot of musicians, because I kind of had a falling out with hip hop after the 90s hip hop. I just never really got into this age of hip hop the same way, and I stopped listening. But when I was on the carpet talking to him, and when we was talking to him in 2009, he was talking about what he was trying to do, who he was. You get it right off talking to him. You know what I'm saying? It makes you want to, like, I don't know what your album sound like at this time, but the way you just answered that question made me want to like dig in deeper. And like over the years, he's proven to be a leader in the hip hop community, and one that was leading by example instead of just talking about I'm doing this and I'm riding this car. He was really putting people back to work and giving people opportunities. And even in this situation, it kind of supposedly, I don't know all the details for sure, but it seems like it happened right while he was
there that day.
He was there to help somebody.
Right. Yeah, they actually had just got out of jail. I remember I met him like a year and a half ago, I want to say, and I can't say I was really a fan of his music, but what interested me was how he had a business mindset, because I always had this love-hate relationship when it came to the black businesses. And I told him, honestly, if you don't pay your employees fairly, and I felt like, if you don't pay them, why should we support? And he challenged me on that. Like that was real challenging there. But we talked about the presidential center that's coming to Chicago, and I was telling him, like, man, I don't think that they should put it in an area that already has money. Why not put it in an area like the west side of Chicago that never recovered from, you know, the King assassination? Or why not put it in Inglewood? You know, regardless, both of these areas could benefit from them both. I mean, it's still Chicago. And, you know, we rapped about that for like a long time.
Yeah, he's definitely somebody that will get intellectual, and he's I mean, I'm not sure if his only child, but I know he was a new father with
Lauren London,
and I mean, it's a tragic story. I mean, it's always tragic when you hear these things, but you know that there's people, the real people that's passing every day. You don't want to be like, just because somebody's a star, I want to mourn this guy more than I'm mourning a friend or somebody else that's going through the same thing. But this one really felt like, wake up, people! Like, wake up! Like, I'm gonna tell you what bothered me, and I don't know if it's the proper thought. It's not no Kodak Black bullshit, but it's like. I feel like all those people that posted all this stuff about Nipsey Hussle and what good he was doing, I was like, why didn't y'all post that 2 weeks ago though?
Right.
Why didn't y'all post that 2 weeks ago? Like, why we got this fascination with this hashtag support when it's like, yo, yeah, he was doing this for all this time. That Marathon store has been there. And no knock to those people that was bigging him up, because I'm out of hip hop. Like I said, only reason I really knew all this stuff is because I did know people connected to that neighborhood and everything else that was telling me about what Nipsey Hussle was doing. And we was actually trying to get with some gang intervention and some a program to bring some funds to some convicts that got derailed in the system of gang task force in the early 2000s. We was trying to bring a program and work with Nipsey on that. So it's like all this stuff that was happening with people that really did know him and really, but it's like this overwhelming fan, and I understand it, because you know we lost something big, but it's like the people that's doing stuff, that's really trying to do stuff, they can use all that support now.
Yeah.
Because of the Marathon store and everything else, I mean, I don't know if it would have changed the situation, and there's a lot of conspiracy theories, and you guys can let me know what you think about some of those, but I just think it'd be better to celebrate and support those people while they're here. You know, I've seen so many black women like, hey, say you love a black man today, and all this stuff, and we're losing our black, but do that while we're here. You know?
Yeah. I just thought, like, you know, I remember like the next day, because this happened Sunday, and then Monday or Tuesday, they're still looking for the guy. His name's Eric Holder. Not Eric Holder Jr., but, you know, Eric Holder. So yeah, allegedly. But no, you know, we went after his family. You know what I'm saying? I say we because, you know, we have to, somehow we all collectively are put together. And the thing is, I thought, well, why is it we don't do this when this is an alleged gang member shoots someone that's innocent, like a kid or, you know, just anybody? Why is it we don't do this right away when it happens to us? And I thought about it in terms of Chicago, because we have gang violence every day. Yeah. And it's like, why don't we do this, give this same attention to, like we're giving him, to us, to go after these people that are committing these crimes? And
I feel you. I mean, but I still feel like it's just a destructive circle. I could feel your sentiment, but at the same time, they didn't get him to. I've heard stories that they might have killed a family member of his and was threatening to kill his mom or something like that. I'm not sure if that happened or not. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on there that I hadn't verified, but the police got him. Yeah. And not all the time in Chicago do the police get the people, but the police, you know, they're after somebody. Right. So I don't know if it's a task for us to do that as much, but I do feel that sentiment. I feel it more not for like the Chicago gang violence, which I'm not as personally connected to as you, but when it's like the George Zimmerman and stuff like that, like, okay, where are you gangbangers now that's saying this and that? And I'm not, don't come at me, I'm not calling out your gangs, no disrespect, but I'm just saying, like, at the same time, why George Zimmerman still walking around, you know, still popping off and everything else, but I just think it's tragic, and I think we gotta give
our people our red roses while we still here.
Yeah, man, because I mean, I don't want to speak nothing that existed, but I mean, something happened to me. Don't be telling me how great BlackTree was or should have been, because we here now.
Yeah.
We use your support now. Don't wait till something happened and be like, we gotta support that, man, because I just think we could have moved stuff in. One thing I did right, because I posted up like the oldest interview we had and the most recent, which was just like last month at the Grammys, interview we had with him, and I said, you know, he's gone in the flesh, but his mission, his vision is this is the eternal life that he created by not only through his music, but if we could carry that baton and that mission doesn't die, then we could still do that stuff. So I think people that's inspired by him figure out what he's doing, and I mean, we gotta talk for at least a minute about some of these conspiracies. I mean, it's the Dr.
Sebi
assassination, and maybe that this has something to do with it. It's that the guy was supposedly an informant, and that, you know, the cops putting out a hit because he's tried to do gang interventions and all this stuff, and then it's the side of it that you know, hey, it's just LA gang violence. Y'all don't understand. This is what happens in LA gangs, and from what I understand, they were from the same set.
Right.
And I don't know what to believe. What I gotta say on the conspiracies is that it all could be true. It could be that it's LA gang violence and that it's not some government agent that sat there and told them to go do this task. But at the same time, the conspiracy of the imagery and the music and the messages that we've been pumping into our community and into our people is something that's systemic. And the results of those systemic things are gonna lead to stuff like this. So I feel like there's no way of getting around that, yeah, this stuff is a higher influence that's pushing this. You don't have to call it the Illuminati, you can say evil or whatever it is. I feel like that's true, but I don't feel like I have the gas to pay attention to all the conspiracy theories, because like how do we then, we get distracted on that, but how do we end up overcoming and moving forward? I'm just like, let's just pick up the baton. Let's protect ourselves. Let's protect our neck. And I mean, like, you know, it's sad that somebody could do that in broad daylight right there and get off all those shots. And yeah, so rest in peace to Nipsey Hussle, man. And one thing you said in there, you said that you was thinking about us in Chicago, but I think that brings us to the movie Us, which we did get to discuss last week, and let's talk about some movies and what's going on. But Us is doing great. It did great in the box office. It's, Jordan Peele is also launching Twilight Zone. I think he's really made his mark, and like, he's a horror aficionado, but I had a chance to talk to Jordan about some of the Easter eggs of what was going on in the movie. And one overriding theme about the movie is it's not just these doppelgangers that we all got these lookalikes, but it's like that we are our worst enemy. And I thought, like, where else does this not apply besides this Nipsey Hussle thing? I mean, not saying that it's not government or whatever, but we are our worst enemy, because whether it's the fears that we hold of going to do something, the procrastination, the lack of empathy, whatever it is that we have, I mean, this is the result of those demons that we all have in us, is that we didn't uplift this brother big enough while he was here, and that are we gonna be have the endurance and the stamina to to take that baton and still go with it, or is this going to be a hashtag celebration of his life, and then we're going to forget about everything in a couple of weeks?
I don't think we'll forget about it, because, I mean, this is something that has really rocked the entire community. You know what I'm saying? From, you know, no matter who you are to even if you live in the community, this has affected so many people. But, you know, it's one of them things where, you know, I guess it's hard to explain it, to look at it if you're not really in the community, because, I mean, I'm an outsider looking in. Yeah, you know, I have sympathy for it, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like...
Excuse me, that's our call for break from our producer, but we'll come on, continue on.
Good, that thing came on. I was losing my train of thought. No, but I mean, I'm an outsider looking in, but I'm looking at I'm just looking at different things from different points of views. Like, fuck all this conspiracy shit. It's not a conspiracy. You can't connect left eye to this, you know, and then this guy, like, you know, he was making this documentary that's cool and everything, but the bigger picture is all this gang violence. And then it goes back to gun control. You know, how easy it is for people to get guns. Someone put this in perspective for me several years ago. They said, yo, because again, Chicago and the kids, you know, when it comes to, if I'm looking for you, fuck the kids. I'm gonna get you. It's a hit is a hit. You know, but the bigger thing is, you know, not to let this die down, but at the same time, you know, there's a bigger meaning besides just him.
Well, I gotta counter you, because I'm born in New York, grown up in the South. I gotta give the Second Amendment advocates some justice, because when I was talking about this with my friends, some friends that's really close to Nipsey, and I was like, dang. But he was like, they get shook down in that parking lot, and you know, security have it, but you know, people don't always have guns. It's like these convicts. Nobody wants to go, you know, get locked up in a situation like that. And one of the things I said, like in Georgia, it's so many guns that people could have their guns. Mm-hmm. So the cops just can't run up on you like that and be like, you know, oh, why you got guns? We gonna take everybody to jail unless you already have records. I was like, there would have been a shootout, and maybe it would have been some other innocent people that got killed. Because
there were 2 other people that got injured.
Yeah, yeah, and so I think there is sometimes that argument that, yeah, well, if dude knew that everybody had guns, maybe he could have did it, or maybe he didn't care. I mean, who knows? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I mean, I think there is an argument for gun control, and there's also an argument for rights to carry. I mean, when it's not an AR-15, it's the right to have protection on you, to be able to protect yourself is something that some people hold dear. And if Nipsey did have his gun or a gun at the time and could have defended himself, could he still be here? Possibly. Mm-hmm. Could he still be dead? Possibly. It's an impossible argument when you get down to it in this country.
Well, what's interesting too, when we talk about gun control, I do not feel like in terms of the black community, we don't really talk about it enough, because you hear about gun control when there's a school shooting or a mass shooting, but with us, we never really talk about it. And the reason why I say it's a big thing with gun control, because it's like, you know, this was a convicted felon. Right. Why did he have a gun in the first place? You know, this is not something that's going to die away right away. I mean, we're going to be watching this saga play out for a minute, because now, you know, this guy's held on $1 million bond, but he can't get out. But he can afford Chris Darden, you know, the guy that prosecuted O.J. Simpson in 1994.
Which feeds into people, like, there's like, you know, there's so many people with conspiracy theories that I know. What I'm not doing is dismissing them all, but what I am saying is that, why y'all getting distracted about those details? The results is what it is.
I think if
we're watching a real live, and in our next segment we're gonna get to the Mueller report. We watch a real live conspiracy happen every day,
right? And
we see the president do what he do right in front of the camera, right in everybody's face, and he don't get. So what are we gonna do if we figure out that Dr. the doctor that was trying to cure AIDS and left eye, and all this stuff is connected together. How do we defend ourselves? What is that mystery? We beat Columbo and figure that out. What are we gonna do with it?
I'm gonna tell you something. I don't waste dead energy on stuff like that. Like when I look at it on social media, I'm like, you know, you're sitting there thinking like, this is social media. What kind of, these are not woke people. You know, we need to be in reality right here. You know what I'm saying? You know, the Dr. Sebi thing came up after the fact. You know, I didn't, like with Left Eye, I didn't even know she was connected to this guy at the time because nobody ever talked about it up until after the fact. So it's kind of like, you know, come on now, let's put the phones down and pick up a book.
I mean, it is interesting. And, I mean, I think what people could do is like figure out what's going on. And Nick Cannon said that he would continue to make this documentary, and you know, that's somebody needs to continue to try to make opportunities for. Somebody needs to continue to make opportunities for convicts, and all these things just need to continue to happen. We just need to carry that baton. So, I mean, there's a memorial service this week too. Thursday
at the Staples Center.
At the Staples Center, that is big, and I talked to some people in the community, actually some. I'm not gonna say gang members, just some brothers I talked to, and they said that the reason the stuff is at Staples Center, because people were saying stuff about that also. Why isn't it in Inglewood or why isn't it here? Is because they said here in the city, if you're from here, downtown is neutral ground. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to have it in one gang's hood when everybody want to celebrate this and this and that. So I think that's all still kind of terrible that we have to go through. All that, but yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, you can celebrate his life at Thursday. You could support the Marathon store. You could figure out what this man was doing and try to like reevaluate stuff. Because I think one thing that happened yesterday for me is I heard this Kodak Black thing, and I had a couple of Kodak Black songs in my playlist and everything. But I just instantly removed Kodak Black. And I'm like, I think as a culture, as a hip hop culture, like maybe we need to start reevaluating who we're like pumping up. Because Future came out, was like, hey, yeah, no, people don't know how hard people like me and Nipsey Hussle are working. It's like, yo, y'all not common denominators in this sentence that we're talking about right here. Because right. Your music and message and your actions don't equal to what he was doing, and you just try to common denominate as artists, or that's not what this conversation is really about. It's more about his activism and what he was doing than about just his music. I mean, because we've lost Extinction and other artists, Mac Miller. I mean, it's been other artists that we've lost over the years, and I think the reason that didn't celebrate wasn't because it was just like, oh, his music is gone. It's because like, oh no, this brother he was on a mission. And he was somebody that came from, he wasn't somebody that was just rapping about stuff that he wasn't living. He came from this era, this gang culture. It came out the rolling 60s, and went through jail, got a deal, and built himself up and stayed in the hood. And you know what I'm saying? I don't want the message to be like leave the hood, right? But it's all terrible. But let's take a quick break, and when we come back, you talked to Google about the Raw. I want to hear about that, and I talked to some of the directors for the Avengers Endgame. I got to see some of that, so I can tell you a little bit about that. I can't tell you much about that. I'll catch more about that in our next show, and so we'll be right back.
And now the music plays and the camera pans out.
And now I pick up my old...
This trap phone.
You calling me? What's up?
Did you have them damn, like...
All right. And we're back. So it's April, it's a busy month. It's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, we got Coachella going on here in LA. We have Avengers is coming out, Avengers Endgame, and it's already like pre-selling like madness, and I got a chance to check some of that out, and I mean, it's a lot. It's LA. It's almost the NBA playoffs. It's March Madness. It's coming to a wrap tonight. Congratulations to the Baylor women who won for the NCAA women. Tonight is Texas Tech versus Arizona, and it's like almost all the advertisers are depressed that Zion Williamson got knocked out of the tournament because the ratings was sky high, and this happened, and there's a movie Little coming out. It's a lot of stuff going on. So entertainment is where it's at. You had a chance to talk to Google Ambassador Raw today.
Yeah.
How did that go? So
she has this new movie coming out called Fast Color. Basically, it's about you see three women here. You got Lorraine Toussaint, her, and then Sanai Sidney. Sanai. We have to start that over.
Okay.
Hold on. My bad.
From the Fences.
What the fuck is that girl's name? Sanai.
I got IMDb on this phone.
I'm about to pull it up right now. Let me see. Damn, you would think I know who she is.
Where is she from? Is she from Fences?
Yeah.
I interviewed her on the Oscars carpet.
Her name is Sanai. Yep, Sanai Sidney. I had it right.
All right. And take two. So you had.
It's busting right now. Is that on the iPhone or is that on the Sprint? On the Sanyo. I wonder if you can sell this and how much money you could get from it.
So a lot's going on. I mean, even like you had a chance to talk to Google Ambassador Raw today about her new movie. How did that go?
First of all, the movie is called Fast Color. Phenomenal movie. It has her, Lorraine Toussaint from Any Day Now on Lifetime, and then you have Sanai Sidney, excuse me, from The Passage and then Fences. So basically, it follows her. Her character is Ruth, and she is on the run from the government because she has these superpowers that they're trying to study from her. And I thought it was interesting because it's an all-female cast. Pretty much is directed by a woman named Julia Hart, and it focuses on the mother-daughter relationships between all three of these women. And it's really interesting just to see how the government is trying to track this woman down to study her, but it's so interesting. I think a lot of people will relate to it because it's kind of like how cultural appropriation happens in a way with, white women studying black women's, history and then, stealing it. But she was amazing this morning. She talked about how, the process came about, just talking about, how she, prepared for this role and, can't give away too much about it. But when you see it, you'll understand why, just how amazing it is.
Yeah. So that's Fast Colors, Cold Black. I'm not sure if we have a release date yet, but check out the interviews shortly on BlackTree TV. Before we get out of here, I got to talk about some of these presidential candidates because I always watch the Sunday shows, and it's a crowded field. Joe Biden has been in the news, who's not even in the candidate. So I feel like I'm wasting time talking about somebody else because one of the problems I had with the last election, with the last presidential election, is that they gave so much air to Donald Trump as opposed to other candidates, and now people giving all this air to Joe Biden, and he hasn't even announced. It's
unnecessary. Yeah.
When you're ready to announce, then we'll start talking about. We're not even going to talk about Joe Biden, but we are, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete, and from South Bend, Indiana, and then all the other people. But the mayor was doing a big round of press this week. He was on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne and Envy and them, and then he was on I think Meet the Press. Fox News Sunday. So he's getting a lot of run, and I'm telling you, when he does these interviews, he's really handling himself well. I mean, he's really well spoken. He's well thought out. He's the only candidate with military experience. He's openly gay mayor in Indiana. He said one interesting thing this month. He said we have to stop getting into these tribes and thinking that it all works. Because he said where I got elected, you know, Barack Obama won the vote. President Trump won the vote. I won the vote as an openly gay mayor, the first openly gay mayor in the Catholic South Bend, Indiana, where Notre Dame is, and Mike Pence, who's the super conservative superhero, won the vote there. So he said, like, in this one area, all these different people or interests was able to win majority votes. So he's like, we can't sit there and think that, you know, that things are so far, that people are so far out of reach that you can't get to them or that your message can't get to them. So I really enjoyed what he said with that, and I think he's been somebody that needs to get some, you know, attention paid to him, along with Julio Castro and some other people. I mean, has any candidates stood out to you so far?
Julio Castro, I like, you know, I've listened to all three of them. I mean, I don't.
All 30 of them?
Well, I'm listening to 3 of them, preferably right now. But I mean, I just think that, you know, we need to really start listening to these people. I'm wondering, are we really, really listening to any of these candidates and what they're talking about? You know, he was on the Breakfast Club not too long ago, I believe, and, you know, again, he's well-spoken, and just what he talked about in terms of ending veteran homelessness, because that was something that, you know, was under the Obama administration, because he worked with the Obama administration for like 3 years, I believe, but that was a big thing, and I guess it's prevalent because, I mean, since I'm here in LA, I see a lot of that going on, and I don't feel like there's enough resources, you know, that is given to that. You know, I think that that's just one big thing that stood out about him. I think that when it comes to these candidates, preferably, you know, you got Kamala and then you got, you know, Cory, we got to stop focusing on the popularity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We got to really, really listen to these people, because I think with this last election,
it became popularity.
It became popularity, but it's like, you know,
and make people tell you what they believe now. Don't let this innuendo and this cult of personality take over, and you just go for somebody person. Make people say what they want to do and be real about it, and make them speak their thoughts. And what I hate that the media. There seems to be a theme in media, and we have to deconglomerate the media. I mean, this last deal with Disney and Fox is just the latest in a number of media conglomerates coming together. And what's happened is independent voices have gotten smushed out, and when the media gets a message, it's the same way when you turn on your radio and hear the same 7 songs, because everybody around the country has the same playlist, because all those companies are really one company. And what's happening in the media, you're getting the same thing. And right now they're trying to push this message that America doesn't want another white man to be president. There's some validity to America wanting representation and diversity and everything else, but why y'all trying to pit it against so that you can activate the base that doesn't want diversity, to be like, no, well, therefore no white men. The country still got a lot of white men in it, so we can't act like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's the message. I think what's happening is that candidates have to start considering, because what I think was this a reflection of that this presidential cabinet, his whole campaign, everybody. He goes to his rallies. You have 99% white audience. You look at his cabinet as white. You got Ben Carson and white people, and it's like, I think that is a problem. And just like if Barack Obama, if all he had was Wu-Tang Clan back there, it would have been an issue. But you know what I'm saying? So I think there is some of that, and there's a lot of the women's movement, the Me Too movement, everything else the loss that Hillary Clinton took, and the last election, but don't forget that Cynthia McKinney, another black candidate, lost to Barack Obama in the first election. So it's not like Hillary's the first woman to lose. But I think it's a lot of pushback, like that there should be women, and that even if there's a man candidate, that maybe you should have a woman vice president. And I think all that's valid, but let's make sure that we get like qualified people that we want to run this government, and we're not just having a popularity contest, and that we start removing these senators, these Congress people that's been there for 1,000 years.
Right.
No knock to Maxine, but I mean we need fresh blood and fresh thoughts. And I think AOC gets a lot of heat on her because she's this young firebrand congresswoman in New York, and everybody's like, oh, what she said the Green New, like, how does a freshman congresswoman, Green New Deal, like, how does that become the party? It's like the media likes to paint this picture. Oh, well, everybody wants what, like, people not even checking. People don't even know. She hasn't even made the rounds around all the Congress people yet. Like, people don't even know her like that. So, I mean, it's not like.
One issue I have, and I had this issue with the Obamas as well. When you, like you talked about, when you go to, when you're looking, you don't see people that really kind of look like us. You see us, but you see the more dignified, prim and, all that good stuff. But you don't see the people that, when it comes to the votes, like preferably with the Trump, I tell people, like, you're mad because, again, you guys didn't get out here and vote. But again, you guys did not, I feel like with politicians nowadays, they don't go to areas where I think are needed most. And it's like, my thing is, again, with the popularity thing, like, with Castro, what stands out about him, he's, in my opinion, from what I gather of him, he's an everyday kind of guy, not the type that, kind of wants to be the center of attention and stuff like that. He's like, I'm here raw, what I'm saying, don't have the team of people around him. He's like, yo, this is the everyday person, especially with the veterans. These are everyday people. These are people I see every day. He's one that I think that would go around to, the areas of Inglewood or, Crenshaw, to get out there and get those votes that really matter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I don't want to be biased this early. I really love, after hearing debates and town halls, I love to hear all these things, and people do all their press rounds before I really make a decision. And I still got some love for Bernie, and I got some love for Biden. I can't say it's that much, but what I'm saying, like, I want to see a candidate that's gonna win, and I'm not in the anti Cory Booker, Kamala train like a lot of people have taken to. But I'm not on their train either, because I really haven't heard anything that's really brought me in. Right. But Castro, I have to say that he said some things that made my ears perk up, and I want to give him a bigger look. But I mean, we're a long way from all of that, and we're gonna see. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, we could talk about Mueller report, but we're wasting our time because we don't know what's in it. So I think 4 pages. Yeah, we know 4 pages is in it, and I think all these news agencies spend 24 hours a day talking about what they don't know, and it's like there's other stuff going on. So I'm glad we got to talk about Nip. Rest in peace, Nip. I'm glad we got to talk about the Image Awards and a little bit about Avengers, because we got to go. Y'all gonna love Avengers Endgame. That's all I can say.
And you saw it, right?
I didn't see all of it. The Russo brothers, the directors, they showed me a good portion of the movie, but it's not. The movie isn't complete. Would you believe that? I just talked to them 3 days ago.
Wow.
And they left from our conversation to go finish some color and sound on the film. So the film comes out end of the month. We'll be on the premiere. We've got to see a good portion of it. I got some ideas of what's going to happen, but I'm not going to spoil it for you guys.
Will you tell me though?
I'll tell you. And we're going to be back next time, and next time we'll talk about that, and maybe we'll talk about the Mueller report, and
maybe we'll get another page.
Going on, and hopefully we're not talking about. But before we go, this Kodak Black shit. Let me talk about it. Let me look at this camera right here. All right. See, what I don't get. Well, I don't get it. You know, I get the ignorance. I get it. You ignorant. You want to be ignorant. Ignorance is cool. I get that part. I mean, I grew up in an era where they try to make ignorance cool, but I know it's like it's flourishing now. Ignorance is cool. So you say this stuff on Instagram or whatever, and you being ignorant. But then the follow up, when you apologize to Laura in London, but then tell all those other people, hey, come see about me. If you want to come see about me, I love that action. Bro, this is a follow up to what happened to Nipsey Hussle. Less than a week when you tell it, yo, come get at me. Y'all want that action. Bro, you don't want that action, man. Your family don't want that action. You making money, you losing radio money now, and you talk about you stuck in this lifestyle, like this, you can't get out of that? Y'all gotta wake up, man. Wake up. I'm not, I just dropped the music called that Black. I ain't gonna get at you. I ain't gonna come holler at you. I ain't gonna slap you when I see you. I ain't gonna do none of that shit. Now I could, but that ain't what I'm trying to do. I just deleted you from my playlist. You won't get no plays on me. And I don't know if that connects to your streaming money, but maybe it do. Maybe it makes you wake up. Maybe you come back, and maybe I like you in 10 years. But right now, you ain't on my playlist, and that don't hurt your feelings, that's good. But I ain't coming to slap you. But don't be telling people to come have some gunplay with you in response to something that just happened to Nipsey, that you had to gall and, oh my gosh.
I think what you talked about earlier in terms of hip-hop, the way it has evolved, because I'm the same way. I don't listen to, I can't tolerate everybody. I mean, when I sit and listen like him, I mean, he has some okay stuff that, I'm thinking like, okay, cool, I got a better sense of this guy. I've met him a couple of times. He's I feel like this. When you are a D-lister, and yes, I do speak like this, when you are at the D-lister level and you have A-list diva demands, it's something not right with you, literally. But what he said was, I just couldn't understand, like, dude, like, you ain't got no kind of compassion, like, it's like, why would you sit there and say something like that? You know what I'm saying? To understand something, this girl lost her partner, and they have a child who lost their father. You know what I'm saying? That's, it shows how insensitive you are. And on top of that, you've been to jail. So you should know, of all people, how it feels to not be around your family and for your family to not be without you. You going up against telling somebody to come gunplay with you and stuff like that. Like, dude, you're no better than Eric Holder. You're no better.
Man, look, man, we all gotta wake up, man. We gotta drop this. You gotta start listening, like all that BS that made it to the album, that made it to radio play, that we sitting there jamming with. Y'all gotta start listening to these lyrics and to these artists off camera. I mean, off the record. When they start saying some stuff, if they're not representing us, y'all gotta drop them out your playlist, man. We gotta do better. We gotta support those people like Nipsey, and we gotta stop supporting this other stuff that's not getting us nowhere. Cause it's gotta be about us. So that's my thought until next time, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Dre and Jay.
Yeah, what's up with this? What's up with this trap phone?
I'm gonna take this call, and we'll see y'all next time. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't got Facebook on here. I can't. I don't got Uber on here either. It's just like, yeah. All right.
Did it have a headset jack? Like, you know what I'm saying? This one had a headset jack on it?